Peeps, guess what? It's another episode of High Artworks. I'll be your host, Sean P. Callahan. And this week I have Bruce Collins, who is one of the artists here at Dog Tired Studio. And this is a couple of his pieces here. And you're going to talk about your work. But I have some questions along the way, and we can spiral off at any time.
Okay.
But because this is High Artworks, you get to pick your drug of choice. And he picked margaritas, which we've drank a couple already. He clearly has drank his faster. And so he's out.
Surprise.
And we kind of thought about going to get another one, and I'm like, you know what, I think we're just going to do the interview. So he is on his drug of choice. It's been done.
Yep.
I'm still drinking mine. It's my second. So, where were you born?
Where was I born? I was born in Worcester, Massachusetts.
I slept with a guy in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Of course you did.
True story.
So did I. Not when I was born, but sure, after.
I wasn't born either. I was a youngin'. I was in my 20s.
That was you? No, just
No, it wasn't you. I think this guy had a wife. I don't know. Anyway, but that's not the point of this. How did you like growing up? Like New England. I love New England. Part of my heart is there.
Yes, I love growing up in New England. Because I lived in Marlborough, which is right in between Boston and Worcester, and it was great. I had no complaints growing up. I did grow up over a funeral home. That was interesting.
I remember you telling me that. It's like 6 feet under or something.
Yeah, it was the 6 feet under was the story of my family. Yes, exactly, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you said your mom was kind of like Hairspray, like Divine.
Oh yeah, my mother was like Divine. Yeah, my brothers and sisters will kill me, but yeah, she was like Dawn Depp, like the mother in Hairspray, definitely. Like look wise and how she acted and everything. Yeah, she was great.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was very cool growing up. Yeah.
How many siblings do you have?
I am the youngest of 4. I have 2 older brothers and an older sister.
Do you get along?
Yes.
Oh, I forget.
Yes.
I love my family.
Yes, we do. No, but when my oldest brother was a teacher all his life, principal, and now he runs the Catholic Christian Doctrine Society of North America, I believe.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then my other brother is an artist and very well known, and my sister is a nurse. And I came around 10 years later. I was a whoops.
So, I was too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We share a lot in common.
Mm-hmm.
So, where did you go? Oh, I need to stick to the schedule. I have all these other questions, but what artist inspires you the most and why?
What artist inspires me the most? Well, it depends. Like, I look at Julie Taymor is the first person to come to mind, and she is a director and an artist and sculptor, and she does theater and mask making, and she's her productions of The Lion King and Frida and everything. I look more to, like, as an artist, I think of her as someone who does everything, and I admire her a lot.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Thanks.
I used to go to Bread and Puppet Theater in
Oh,
Vermont.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the puppeteers came from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, The Lion King.
I love, I just saw the documentary of Fred Rogers with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Amazing documentary. And when I grew up, he used to go...
He picked a friend of mine up when she was trashed. She was throwing it home, and she thought
that's the story.
She thought he was going to rape her. She didn't know.
God.
She didn't know it was him. And then the next day, she ran into him, and he was like, "I'm just making sure you're okay." And she's like, "You're Mr.
You're Mr. Rogers." Yeah, when
he lived in Nantucket.
I did not know that. He went to Rollins College in Orlando, I believe.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
There you go.
But the documentary is great. But when he would go and visit, he had these like neighbors and he would go to the neighbor's house, and they were marionette artists. Do you remember that? And
Yeah, I
you'd
remember
walk
them.
into their place, and there was marionettes hanging everywhere, and they would do some kind of puppet theater with Mr. Rogers, and they put on a performance. And I remember losing my mind as a kid, and I wanted to grow up and have that. Like, I wanted them to be my neighbors. I wanted to have a house just like that, and so.
Did you ask them? Would you be my neighbor?
I would if I saw them now, but
Well, won't you be my neighbor?
won't. 3 margaritas in on this interview, but yeah, like, so that whole like theatrical puppet kind of stuff is what I admire a lot. If that's
Which is interesting because he works with Disney and Universal. It's kind of interesting because they're about that.
yes.
Cool. So
Yeah, the company I work for does theatrical face painting in major theme parks.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're pretty major.
pretty major. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So that's your favorite artist, and you explained why.
I have many, but yeah, she's.
And
yeah.
do you think you're drawn to her because she goes to so many different mediums?
Yes, like she's someone who I would want to talk to her and listen to her, and I've seen a lot of like documentaries and things with her, and I think she's fascinating because she doesn't just paint or sculpt. She also directs, and she did Frida, and she's done.
Wow,
Titus.
I love that.
She's the director.
You know, she did all that New York stuff because she didn't have a budget to actually go shoot. So that whole
collage
yeah.
stuff with
She didn't have the money
That
to
was
go
her.
on the location, so she hired her to do it.
Yeah, and Titus. She did the movie Titus, which is the Shakespearean version with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
And my favorite from American Horror Story, the lead. See? 3 margaritas.
The lead is
Jessica Lange
not
was
anymore.
in Titus.
I loved her.
She'll be in this one.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
With Joan Collins.
Which who we were making?
We're totally
Colby
Cove. Because Collins.
So okay, interesting because my favorite artist has always been Andrew Wyeth, and I loved him. No, he did more than just watercolor. You know, he did tempera as well, but he kind of focused. Like when I started painting for serious, for realsy, I thought, stick with one medium and just don't deviate from it and figure everything out about it and become the best you can be in this one thing. And so I was really cautious about going anywhere else because I wanted to just focus on this watercolor. I'm actually at the point now where I'm more comfortable like trying new stuff. I don't like to be tied up though.
Have you done sculpture?
I got an A in sculpture in college.
Oh, that's good. That's good. The tied up thing for me for. Okay.
Okay. What's your favorite color?
What's my favorite what?
Favorite color?
I have 2. Orange. I love orange, but I also like light turquoise blue. Like
there you
that's
go.
in a lot of those paintings. That show with focused on that color as the main source, and then I kind of branched out for that. But if there was a shirt and there was an orange option, I'd get that. Or if I had to get a watch and it was orange, I'd get orange.
Really?
Yeah, I like orange.
I like vermilion, which is orange.
Which is orange, yeah, like a reddish.
It's vermilion.
It's
If it was orange, they'd call it orange. And so your favorite medium is acrylic right now or no?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just because it's easy for me to use. And a lot of people don't like working with acrylic because of how it dries fast and just oils. I used to, when I taught oils, acrylics, watercolors, and everything. So I've used everything my entire life. But in the past, 10, 15 years, I've only been working with acrylics because it's just easy for me.
I like acrylics. I started doing them with doing murals, and now I'm starting to paint with them as well, but not as much.
Which I did, like in the early '90s. That's what I did. Started doing lots of murals for people, and that's where I got into doing larger scale paintings and larger scale. Yeah.
If you had asked me to do that long ago, I'd be like, no, I can't do that. But now, I really want to do a whole building.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. I've seen videos, and I'm just like, I want to do this.
That's what I did right out of college. Like I was waitering, and I was teaching aerobics, and I was doing all these.
That's hysterical.
Things. I know.
He was, wait a minute, you're jumping. You're taking over the damn interview.
Sorry.
Where did you went? This is an interesting story. So, where did you go to college?
I went to Rhode Island School of Design, RISD.
RISD.
And I
You
graduated.
got a scholarship, I think.
I got a scholarship to go there. Yes.
So.
Which I don't tell a lot of people, but yeah.
Talented.
But my scholarship wasn't for art.
They wouldn't even let me on the board.
My scholarship wasn't for art. It was for academics. What? Yeah. What? Like they thought I was smart.
Yeah. Well, you are smart.
I am smart, but like I never would have like if they said, "Oh, here's your scholarship for, your wonderful Globe Show winning stuff." Great, but for math and science and stuff, no, that's what I got the scholarship for.
Wow.
Academics, yeah.
Yeah, I never got that. Ever. I've been accused of many things. Academics is not one of them. Okay. Where's your favorite place to paint to date? Like, have you had a place where you painted that was, everything just connected? Or does it matter to you?
It doesn't matter because when I'm painting, I get into a zone, kind of like when in the middle of the painting or during the process. So wherever I am, I do miss being in the studio and a studio environment teaching because I taught for years too. So being able to paint in the studio that you're teaching in, it was always kind of
everything's reachable. What's
but it was also magical. The kind of like the students would leave and then I'd stay there and it was quiet. It was like that kind of stuff I liked.
Do you paint better in front of people or alone?
Oh, alone.
I do the other way.
I paint better alone, like because I can concentrate and.
Hello.
We're in an interview. No.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Well, they're gonna buy $3,000.
No, they're not. They're gonna ask how to get to the Hemingway house.
Oh,
and
right.
I'm not telling them that. Go ahead.
What was you asking?
We were talking about favorite place to paint, and you said the
Oh, like
studio
when
where
I
you
used
taught.
to teach, and I would like be in this, and I loved being in that kind of environment to paint. Like the old studios with the wood floors, and you get the smell of turpentine, and you're like, and being in school and painting like that, and going, I love that still.
I always paint because I'm under the gun. Like, if I'm teaching a workshop, I look at the painting later like, damn.
Oh, you asked if I did painting like in front of people, but like for years I used to do caricatures and things like that, and it was like I would do it, and to this day my whole the job that I do is painting in front of people.
Yeah.
So like you're face painting and when I would do caricatures and everything, it's like a show that you're putting on. So because I do that for my 9 to 5 and train people to do that all the time, it's nice to just
let go,
be quiet and just focus. And it's my meditation. That's my release. It's my all of that.
I love all the music. Like, there's so much going on.
You guys can't see, there's a parade of people
apartment
going
in the
by.
back.
I'm seeing it in the reflection over there, so I'm just watching everything. Cool little island he's got here.
Yes, we do.
Very cool gallery here.
Okay. Where do you see your work heading, changing, growing into? Before we go to that, if you see behind me, Fiddler's 3, and then The Crooked Man, and Rub-a-Dub-Dub, Three Men in a Tub. So you have done a series of paintings based on nursery rhymes, but they're just so incredibly beautiful and interesting.
Well, that was the last show I did. It was, and that's how I have been painting lately. Is just thinking up a kind of theme, which isn't really random. It's more of like I'll have sketches that I would have done for years, and then I finally have an opportunity to show. I'll get a deadline, and I'll think, okay, I'm going to have 20 canvases here. We're going to do 20 nursery rhyme, and then kind of fit the images. It's kind of my process. It's similar to, I compare it to a fashion designer doing a collection. So
It looks like that, actually.
So
I've
you
seen
want,
it.
like, I want someone, if they walk into the gallery to see a show of mine, I want it to look like they're walking into a book. Because my major in school was children's illustration and an illustration period. But like, the cohesiveness of walking in and seeing like a full show, and then I kind of get that out of my system, and then the next show I want to do something completely different, you know. So, which would be your show, which is completely different than that. So,
The Bear Show.
Yeah.
And then you have a show
And then-
coming up
which is
in February.
yeah.
He'll be the featured artist in February, which is interesting. I got to see where he's headed so far, and you start by putting these intense day glow paint as the paint on. He paints the canvas with this incredibly bright orange or yellow, but they're day glow colors. And I remember walking in and seeing it, I'm thinking, oh, but
Well, that's one
wow.
of these too.
Yeah, that green on that guy right there, was that the base color?
No, the base color of that is yellow. It's
Okay.
it's UV.
Yeah.
Like UV yellow that you would use at like a blacklight party.
Yeah.
It's underneath that, and then this one is the yellow in the what do you call that?
The violin?
The violin with the string, not the string,
The fiddle.
the handle. That's the actual yellow from the.
And I'm going to post
From the
these
underpainting.
underneath the video so you can actually see a closer version. But so, and I've heard of this, and I don't paint this way, but those colors really like shine through. The skin tones on his work is just like, holy crap.
Because I learned to do like traditional paint, like, you know, here's your traditional regimented like way of doing oils and acrylics and all of that, and then taking more illustration classes. I studied with an instructor called Roger Pomperon, and he did this whole thing. I mean, he made us do pen and ink drawings, and then you'd cover it with like a Sharpie highlighter kind of thing. And, you know, this is in the 80s, so you're just like completely ruining the drawing that you did. And then the assignment was to just get rid of that color. And so you had to use, I think it was a mixed media course, you had to use any kind of medium to get rid of this acid, horrible color. And I loved that process. I thought it was fun. I liked the result of it because it makes me do choices that I normally wouldn't do. And that, like you said, the color always sneaks into the painting. So you're going to have these like little pops. So what these would look like under a black light, I have no idea.
That would be cool to find out.
It's cool. And if you hold them up to the light and you see the light in the background, you see the, I've been told this by people who have bought them, not like I didn't intend it to be this way, but if you hold it up into the light, you actually see the underpainting underneath, and it causes like, you know, their eyes to turn red or weird things happen. Yeah.
They lose an eye.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Unintentional.
So, you're... As far as where... I'm sorry, I don't have any more.
No, I haven't.
You drank too fast. I actually had a
It's fine. This is
frozen daiquiri headache at the place we were at. The Blue Macaw, by the way, which is excellent.
I thought he had a brain aneurysm.
I thought I was going to die. I was like...
Waitress,
911. Okay. We just talked about how
I'm not looking at the questions.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I didn't look at one.
So what part of you ends up in your work? Like,
I was just talking to someone the other day, and I was talking to them about their artwork, and they said, I wish I could do more stuff like you because you make all your stuff very personal. And I think that would answer that question. I think the part of me that's in everything is the story that's behind it. So in the, like if someone was to walk in to a show of mine, they might read the title and go, "Oh, A Crooked Man." These are all like images that he made up from his, out of nursery rhymes. But the thing is like the Crooked Man is actually based on someone, and I love symbolism, like the Da Vinci Code and any Dan Brown novel, all of that. I love that kind of stuff. So I love symbolism throughout art history. That was like, I love studying that. I'm fascinated by what images and what certain animals like mean. And so lots of my paintings have a lot of hidden symbolism, a lot of meaning. I use a lot of people that I know in my paintings, so that where I come in is like it's a personal connection with the deeper meaning behind each one. So
he told me the story about the Crooked Man. I won't tell the story.
You can tell the story.
I want that painting, so I'm actually not going to buy it until after the show. Somebody else buys it.
We're gonna trade. I thought, right? We're gonna trade. No, sorry.
I'd love to do that.
I thought we did.
But then it won't be in the show, and it has.
Well,
to
no,
be
you
the
can
show.
just put sold and keep it in the show.
Done. I love that painting. Anyway, and I love the story behind it. So I totally get. I'm glad. I just
there was an actual crooked man.
There's a man that was in his life that is that guy.
There was, and it's not who anyone is thinking, but there was a certain man, and I spent a lot of time, and then there's this whole other part where I spent a lot of time in Japan for work at one point, and there was these, what they called in Japan was table people, where they would have extreme osteoporosis, and these old elderly men and women would be walking around the streets, literally bent over.
I've seen
in that
video.
Yes, it's amazing. And
why has that happened to them?
I don't. It's a thing. I just remember being there and being fascinated with it, and so the idea of a crooked person holding like something on their back and traveling originally was going to be an homage to my time spent in Japan.
How cool is that? Hold on to that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it still is. But then...
that guy came into your life.
Yeah. And then I was like, I need a real face to put on a crooked person. And so be careful what you do to me. You'll be in my opinion.
I'm not the brightest bulb. I don't do anything bad.
Not you.
Oh,
I meant
okay.
be careful, like in general.
Okay.
Not you.
Don't do anything bad to
Not
him.
you.
You'll end up in
He's
like that.
you're like the sweetest person ever. Like you don't do.
I try to
anything.
be. I'm
No,
not.
I
But not
wasn't-
everyone would agree with you.
I've already painted you though.
You have.
I have painted you. Yeah.
So my favorite part is one of my. I love his face, which you'll see. But this guy had a cat, and
In the nursery rhyme, it's like there was a crooked man and he had a crooked hat.
and he said he forgot to put the cat in. But if you look at the bedroll, it says C, and the rope has A and T, so it's spelled out cat. I thought that was incredible. So
It's a little subliminal stuff. Again, the symbolism hits, so that's me in there.
all right, so you've been to. The next question is what brought you to Key West, but that doesn't really affect you. But there is a reason. So, in your art career, you started out in the West Coast. You were in the West Coast. You were in Japan.
I started like outside of Boston. I started teaching art and working in a gallery there, and then working for different the Emerson Umbrella. I taught a lot of classes, and then I left, and I ran away to join the circus, which was moving to Florida, and then
I knew a girl that ran away from home and joined a freak show.
I totally would have done that Still might. Who knows?
She was Kitty Kilowatt.
Really?
You live here long enough, you meet everybody.
I love that.
So go ahead. But you started with the company that you're with now. You've been with them for a long time.
I moved to Florida, and then I started with the company that I'm at, and then they had me go into the West Coast, and I worked out there and was the general manager for the same company, doing face body art for 9 years, and then I moved back to Florida, Orlando, and I've been here ever since. But I had shows, I showed my paintings out there. I've had a couple of group shows out in LA. I've shown outside of Boston and shows in Orlando area.
Cool.
Since I've been back, since 2011.
You know the gallery Coso?
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple pieces in that.
Very nice.
Copley Society of Art. No, I think I only had one painting in that. It was a group show. It was a mercy piece. And I like Orlando. I've been up there a couple times this summer, and to hang out with him and Elizabeth St. Hilaire, who lives there as well. The three of us get along really well, too well. And we saw the B-52s, the Violent Femmes, and the
Echo and the Bunnymen.
Echo and the Bunnymen.
Yeah.
And he took me to Harry Potter.
I did.
Holy crap.
That was awesome.
I was like 12 years old.
He was. It was awesome.
When was your most creative time period to date? Are you in it? Was there a time when you just like cranked out the show and you're like, what?
Oh, there's different answers to this. I would say the time that I was in school is definitely one of the most amazing experiences I've had in college. Through meeting the people, the exposure to all the people, the teachers, everything about my college experience was amazing. And then outside of that, as I started doing shows when I was in LA, there was a time where in 1 year I was painting, I was doing shows, and I was also sculpting at the same time and doing a lot of maquettes and puppets and dolls and things like that. Again, back to the doll thing. And I don't know what happened or how I don't know how I was able to produce the amount of work that I did in that year, but I was able to have 2 shows and produce a bunch of 3D work. And so that was, as far as the most creative time in my life, that would be up there. And then
2 shows in a year.
2 shows in a year, and then finding the time to it's probably why I'm single now, but
So am I.
but that's probably a big reason. But
you know what? I have a theory.
Oh, I know the theory. We're talking. Yeah, you can tell them the theory. Yeah.
A lot of artists are single. It's because our artwork is our lover, really. Your partner is your work, your art, and your creativity. And I think, I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit crazy, and I have 1 foot not in reality and 1 foot in reality. Every time you go and work in a painting, you kind of are in this painting, which isn't here, and then you zoom out of it to go home and then be your person, and you start doing that all the time. Sometimes part of you doesn't come back.
But that's where we've talked about this a lot. get that.
Yeah,
Like, you're
me
the
too.
one of the very few people that I'm like, yes. Like, I'm right there with you. Like, yes.
And,
Yeah.
and it feels fine to me now. But I
Yeah,
don't,
it's normal to us, but to like people that we've been with or something, that
Yeah.
they're like, it's.
if you have a
it's-
partner, that's really hard because
It's-
they want to be number one. I've been in long-term relationships. And
Yeah,
you know,
I drive them crazy.
Me too. You got to be. They want to be number one, and they should. But if you're an artist, that you can't ask an artist to do that. Sorry. I mean, I know really well-known, successful artists that have partners, and they're very happy, and I can tell they love each other. And I don't know how they make it work, that they do, but a lot of artists doesn't work, and that's fine.
You're gonna get hate mail from
I
this.
don't care.
It's okay.
I'm old enough now to know that just doesn't work for me.
No, but we have the same. We have that same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just, it's hard to find that person. I mean, in a lot of the relationships I'm thinking of, the partner does all the cooking, the shopping, the laundry. They do everything for the artist so the artist can focus on their work. And I was like, I want one of those.
I was gonna say, I'm not saying anything.
I would love that.
I mean, yeah, but that's not. That's
No,
crap.
I resent doing laundry. Sometimes I resent walking Rowan in the afternoon. I have to stop and go, you know what? He deserves this walk. Let him have it. Let him sniff whatever he wants. This is his time. But I catch myself. And to be honest, I am in a relationship with him. So there you go. I don't know why we even got there. Do you have a strange story or interesting story about your artwork as it pertains to people reacting to it? I had a dog pee on one of my works once.
While you were standing there,
No, it was,
watched
it was leaning. It was leaning against this display of all my work, and the dog lifted his leg and peed on it.
Oh my God.
And the woman didn't do a damn thing. She just kept going. She saw him do it, and I was like, "Well." Actually, my response was, "Everybody's a critic," but yeah, that was.
Do I have something weird? I remember. This goes throwback Thursday. When I was in high school, I still remember this. I had done some work, and we had to keep like your paintings in a cubby thing, and my cubby was like, it stole all the work got stolen, like someone took it from which I was like shocked and flattered at the same time. I'm like, who would take that? And then, so if someone out there,
have his
has
work.
like,
He wants it back.
no, it's like
You don't think they're gonna see this?
No, I don't think so. Watch, they probably will.
I once, Sheila Caulfield, I'm sorry. It was 5th grade, and she won an art thing, and when she went to the bathroom, I used Elmer's glue and glued it to the desk. Isn't that awful?
You're a bad.
That's
bad
awful. That's like
boy.
one of the worst things I've ever done. I felt terrible. And Sheila Caulfield couldn't have been the sweetest girl ever. Sheila, I'm very sorry. It's a 12-step.
Sheila, I'm sorry for that. Wow.
I know.
I did think of something. So when I was 13, my mother, Divine, got me a booth at like the festival for and I was like, and it was in like newspapers, like 13-year-old kid does. I didn't do caricatures because I wasn't confident enough, but at 13 I did thumbprint art. So people would stick their thumb in ink, stick it on like a card this big, and I would make the thumbprint into a lion or something. It was like precursor to
That's pretty cool.
doing face painting years later. But and then I had these stupid little frames that I would pop it in, and I made it's like $700 I made for that. It was awesome. I was a little entrepreneur at 13.
Club cash.
So yeah, it was fun. But I was I think I bought a boom box with it or something. I think and my first album that I ever bought was Fleetwood Mac Rumors.
Love that album.
That was the very first album I bought with my own money.
Mine was Kansas Point of No Return.
Oh my God, yes.
I had a crush on this.
What was your first concert?
Grateful Dead.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was Pat Benatar.
I think I was 12. My parents were so tired.
that.
I was the youngest of 10, so the time I came along, they're like, they didn't even have to ask. I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to see the Grateful Dead. I was 12, you know. All right.
So the thumbprint things I do at 13. Now skip ahead. Years later, I was dating someone at the time. I think they were looking at getting a house in Boston. I say we were looking at it, but it was never happening. But like, I remember walking into someone's house, and we were looking at houses, and there on the wall was like the thumbprint art, like going up the stairway of the thing.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I think I dated someone who had like a thumbprint thing.
That's really
like
cool.
Years later, and they're like, "Oh my God!" So when I was 13,
You were already making a name for your.
no, but I was like,
You're
I
making a
touched your
thumb
thumb
for
at 13, and now I'm like
touching more than your
touching
thumb.
more at 29. This is in my 20s, but like, and that was all in Boston. But yeah, like the weird stuff like that, like you walk
If
into
that
someone's
thumb
house.
could talk. Okay.
Do all the interviews like this?
No, they're all.
They're all different.
They are what they are. They go where they go.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
That's the worst sound in the world. It's the saddest.
I know.
Sound.
I feel terrible. I normally.
It's so sad, that sound.
No, we should have like a bartender. I think.
Well, they're walking by right there.
We'll definitely go to get another. We're day drinking evidently today.
Yes.
Okay, so I add this question because it's really affecting me, and I the last person I interviewed, Kristen Norman, I knew the answer before I even asked it because it affects her. We're living in such weird times politically right now. Is that showing up in your work at all, or no? It doesn't have to.
Well, it is. I just haven't painted them yet. But like, I mean, I think if I went there, I would have to really go there. You know what I mean? Because I am doing like, I am working on a painting on the side, which is like liberty and justice, kind of like as women, like. So it sometimes it will show up. And in my last show, it showed up as because I did Humpty Dumpty on the wall, and it was Humpty Dumpty was based on a toy I had as a child, but he definitely had, like the flag was kind of like he was wrapped in the flag kind of on the wall, and instead of like the regular toy legs coming out, it was female legs breaking through through the egg with like high heels on and stuff like that. So it was
cool.
like there was definitely a intent to say something, and that was like I painted over a painting that I had already started, and I got frustrated with it and just did that. It was one of the last paintings I finished. It was one of the first ones.
Those high heels are about to come out.
Mm-hmm.
They did not come out when you were painting it.
No.
We thought they were
They're
coming out.
but the high heels,
They're about to come out.
Yeah,
they're coming out all over.
That was before the whole all the movements from last year, because this show was 2 years ago. So
I'm so glad it's the Year of the Woman. I'm happy for them. And I spent a lot of time in Ireland, and the president of Ireland was was a woman for years, forever. Women in Ireland run the country. The men just farm.
That had I not had a show here, that was going to be my next show. Was like powerful women, but I wanted to use powerful women that are here now, and paint them as powerful women from the past.
Like Betsy Ross.
But it would be like Selma Hayek, who went through all the pain that she did and stood up for, but painting her as like Joan of Arc.
Cool.
You know what I mean, or something, but like and that kind of thing, which I probably will still do, because I have all the ideas. They never stop. They're just like
God, me too.
Never. So
I
it's
wanted to
just,
sometimes. It's like, please, I can't hold anymore.
yeah, well, yes.
Okay. What would you like people to remember about your artwork?
I think I just want my artwork to have. My artwork is, like you say, it's like a piece of you that you're giving away. So when people come into a gallery and they see it, it's like they're reading your diary. It's like I feel very, very exposed. Mm-hmm. So I think like years and years and years from now down the road, if someone could actually like look back on the like chronologically, like if you put my artwork together, hopefully it would be able to tell a little more about me as to, well, this is what he was going on during this time, and this was, what he was going on this time, and so that it ultimately I want people to connect with it. And so, but if they connect with it and I can have a piece of, I'm so distracted because they're filming like a movie outside, and what the guy's like, do you see that? I'm sorry. I'm like, look, squirrel. Like, I am like, and that drives people crazy.
Oh, the girl with the red dress.
Yeah, they're like,
she just went like this.
They're like doing a whole model shoot outside this is amazing. It's like people watching 101. But like, yeah, I would want I love it when people connect to my artwork, and I love it when people make connections to my artwork when I've done something that is personal. Like, you liked that painting before you knew anything about what it was about.
Double love it.
So if there's always a backstory, there's always a story, and there's always symbolism and everything. If people can get that and then they still like the artwork or they like it more, that would make me happy, if that answers the question.
Yeah, it totally does. We talked about the word dating at lunch, and I used it really too much. Like, I would say I dated him, when in reality I hung out with him for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
what does dating mean?
Yeah, I mean, I hung out with I think we dated. It was dated with a little d, I guess. I loved him, still do. He's like family to me. Garen Wolf. He's a writer. Was one of the head writers for General Hospital, and he really carved.
That was more than dating, wouldn't you say? No.
We loved each other.
Well, that's what I mean.
Still do. I mean, he's like family to me now, though. And,
I thought you were talking about the fireman. That's where I was.
No.
That wasn't dating.
Yeah. No, that was not dating.
That was fun.
Canoodling.
That was, yeah.
We were catching catfish. But I mean, he was a writer, and prior to that, I only painted pretty paintings. Like, so I wasn't thinking about anything. I was thinking composition, color, doing still life work, whatever. And then, he kind of got me to thinking, what's the backstory of this stuff?
Yes.
And then we did two shows over years, where he wrote it, I painted it. We did that twice. Yeah. So, and now all my work has a story for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that the person that sees it gets the story unless I tell it to them.
Yeah.
But there's a story for me in every painting I do.
Mine too. And I don't necessarily share it with everyone. People are like, you should tell people what you did, because I'll use I did a whole show about like Shakespeare and Dickens and Poe, and it was very dark. It got really dark, and it was at a dark time.
I agree, Poe's not dark.
He's a little dark. But it also came out when everything in my life switched, and it was a dark time. It was the time of the Empire. No, Star Wars. But
winter is coming.
Winter's coming. Winter's here. But so there's one. I did Lady Macbeth, my version of Lady Macbeth. Now, if anyone looked at it, it's just a long shrouded woman with like these like weird demons in the back, and there's like a spot of blood on her shrouded thing. That's what people would see. But the backstory is, I'm fascinated by Shakespeare, and I'm fascinated with all three of those authors, which is why I did the show. But I'm Roman Polanski's version of Macbeth is one of the creepiest, greatest like movie like versions of that, and I love it. I love the witches in it. I love the characters, but it came out after Sharon Tate, his wife, was killed. So in I've always, even when I was like little, when I saw it for the first time, I always thought that Sharon Tate would have been the Lady Macbeth, because the actress that he got to play her looked like Sharon Tate, you know.
That girl couldn't act her way out of a paper bag.
I know, but she's pretty. But she's
sorry, but it's true.
But Valley of the
she
Dolls.
She was in Valley of the Dolls. But what did you do with the $5 I gave you last week, Mother?
I know, but
Jesus Christ.
So that's why I used her face for my Lady Macbeth.
I'm sorry.
So do you know what I mean? But that's why, this is why I don't tell stories of why I do it, because I'll get. But that's the backstory to that. But someone buying that painting might never know that that's Sharon Tate's face as Lady Macbeth, or why I even did it.
What did you do with the $5 I gave you last week, Mother?
Stop.
She had a terrible ending, so I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not being disrespectful.
No, it's fine.
That's kind of the end of the interview, really. Do you have anything you want to talk about art-wise? Well, like, if you could sit down with any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
Julie Taymor, definitely. I would love to sit down with her and stuff. Artist, living or dead. I would have loved to have margaritas with Frida.
That would be cool.
She would be so much
fun.
So much fun.
That's it. You end up waking up naked in some strange house, not know where you are.
Smoking cigarettes, talking about art, getting very political. She would, I think having a conversation with her and a few drinks and everything would be amazing, and I would come out of that a different. I would want somehow that would
change you.
It would change me.
Yes,
and I think, and that's what everyone that comes into my life changes. My art changes. It's even you. I mean, look at what I'm doing for you here for the show. It's all aquatic, simply because it's in Key West, and I've met you. But it came out like that's what's.
It's really.
It's
cool
all
too.
Mermaids and mermen and jellyfish people, and it's like
it's cool.
Well, jellyfish dresses. It makes it sound bizarre, but yeah. So that, and then if
I love bizarre, I don't know if you know that.
I know you love bizarre. I think that's why we get along so well. Yeah.
That's a great answer. I love Frida.
She would be fun. Like, yeah, I would want to hang out with her. I wouldn't want to hang out with Sharon Tate.
You make one comment.
Just wanted to use her likeness.
Do you remember Helter Skelter? I mean, that book.
Oh my God!
High school. That was like the book.
I was like, weren't you like 8 years old? We're the same age. We were like 8, right? And so I was 8. I was at Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. Not the Hamptons, Hampton Beach. You know, where the movie, what is that movie with like the boxer or whatever? But it was filmed at like the casino in Hampton Beach. My parents and everyone got a cottage every year, and with my cousins and everything, we shared the cottage, and we were 3 doors up from the Manson family, who had crosses on their head at Hampton Beach in a cottage 3 doors down from us. There were police at the ends of the street the whole week we were there. When my brothers and sisters, because they were older,
were they on Hampton
They were like their vacation or something. They were
murder vacation.
It was It was like the
We're
police.
so tired.
I remember my sister and her boyfriends, and they had to be escorted to their cars to be able to, because they were going to the Peppermint Lounge at Club Casino and stuff. It's like all that kind of course I was 8, so I was staying at home. But it terrified me because I kind of was too young to know exactly what happened, but it always fascinated me because my mother and my father was like, you can't, you're not going to leave this porch and you got to go out with it. It was insane, that whole.
It was a weird time.
It was like the 73 or 74, 1972.
And then the book came out.
Yeah. And then it was like, but it was, yeah, there was a whole thing with that.
Yeah.
Which is why I think I have that, like, I've got to put Sharon Tate in one of my paintings at some point. But like, that's like in a sketchbook.
This is turning into the Sharon Tate interview.
Oh my God. And I know, and it's like not even a good painting. Like, it's like.
He has huge paintings. They take up a whole wall. They're amazing. So these are actually small for you.
Small, yeah.
But they're incredible.
And your show's smaller.
Yeah.
Your show's going to be like half that size and like half of that size.
Well, see, down here, houses down here are really small. Wall space is at a premium, and or people are only here on vacation, and I can ship anywhere, but it's easier to ship a smaller painting than a big one. So I like to keep the sizes of all the work here kind of manageable. Except for, I just got a gigantic Elizabeth St. Hilaire. But I love that painting. That's going to make someone really happy. But, do you have any other questions? Do you have anything you want to bring up? Other than Bruce is going to have a show here in February. So we have the opening is the first Friday of the month.
Which everyone's been asking me, and I'm like, I don't know what the date is. So the first Friday
It's
in February.
the first Friday
Everyone
in
knows your
February
date.
from 6 to 9. And this whole back wall will be his work. So, in case you didn't know that.
Do I have enough?
Yeah, well, you better.
You saw the thing. Oh, okay.
I think
20,
so.
yeah.
I think it'll be all right.
It's 21.
Yeah. And we're having a bear show here for Bear Culture. Bear Weekend is going to be November 8, 9, 10, 11. And we're having our show here with Bruce, me, Gregory Little, Chris Lopez, Mark Arrow. We do have one woman in it. Elizabeth did one. It's a huge, beautiful piece.
Mama Bear.
But they're all bear-related artwork, like as in the bear culture. So that's going to be on November 11th, and that's from 1 o'clock to 4. And we're going to have Bone Island Beard Oil sampling here as well, because I make that. And it should be fun.
I use it.
Yeah. Isn't it good?
It's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
It's a key lime
Look what
and
happened.
rum.
I
Key
just
lime
started-
and rum flavor.
That's Island Blend.
Island blend is like
Yeah, key lime and bay rum.
bay rum.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
Well,
low battery.
So you just keep going, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to tell them that.
Okay, sorry. Just no low battery.
Well, thank you for sitting in.
Thank you for yes.
And your drug of choice has really been incredible. And we'll go get another one now.
Okay.
Because
that's good.
we're day drinking.
We're day drinking. We're on vacation, kind of now,
Well,
right?
you are.
Well, I am, but
And I
you're
guess
like
I am
you're
now,
kind of
too.
now stuck with it. So
But I normally tell people I'm not on your vacation because you have to tell them that when you live in a vacation town, and or you become a raging alcoholic and you never get any work done. But that's not going to happen.
oh, not with us. Absolutely not.
No. But yeah.
No.
So there you go. All right. Thank you guys, and
Thank you.
welcome to another episode of High Artworks. And the next person is actually going to be Fran Decker from Fran Japani, who does amazing work and also does many different mediums. And I love her work because she just goes out there and does it, no matter what it is. And she's just got such a giving soul, and she's a really important part of our island. And I was supposed to interview her this week, but I had to repaint the gallery. It didn't feel good, so I had to cancel. So you'll see her next week. Okay? So great talking with you. Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys soon. All right. Bye.